What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to use classes in Python. So classes, it's basically, they're just another way to break up your data and make it, it's basically a data structure that allows you to break up your data into a more palatable format. It kind of makes it easier for programmers to understand and classify their data. Um, So I'm going to go ahead and open this repo up in VS Code. And so yeah, I don't want to go too deep into classes because they're actually not, I mean, they're used in Python, but Python works a lot more as a scripting language, whereas classes moves into objects, and that's an object-oriented programming language, which Python is. It can be used object-oriented, but the way that I've seen it used, it's more so scripting, and it's a lot of data science as well, some more so for big data. But you 100% can still use classes, and I think it's important that you understand what classes are in Python, because you will see this used. And it also gives you a better understanding of some of the libraries that you'll work with as well. They'll definitely use classes. So you still need to understand it. It's just a little bit different with Python. So the first thing to do to define a class, it's just the word class, and then you name the class. So I'm going to name the class parts, and then you just define things within your class. So let's say part number, and then from my main, let's say part number equals 5 for right now. So then from my main, the way to access this is to do, so let's say that I want to output, so we need to make an object first. Actually, no, I think we can just output parts.part number, just like that. Let's see, a little experiment here. So Python 3 classes.py. Okay, yeah, so that outputs the part number. And then you can have multiple data items for your class, right? So if I'm trying to describe a part, let's say part name equals screw, right? So if I wanted to output the part number, and then the name of this part is, and then add the parts dot part name. Okay, so this one's an integer here, the part number. So I need to make this a string, and now this should work. So 5, the name of the part is screw. So that's just a really, really basic example of how to use classes. I'm going to get into a better example here in just a second. Okay, so this is the more common way that you're going to see classes used. So you can define an init function within the class. And what this allows you to do is to then pass the data when you create this class, basically, like an instance of the class, also known as an object, you can pass the data straight into it. So let's say self, and then we'll do part number and part name. And then within the class, we're going to set self dot part number equals the passed in parameter, which is part number. And then we'll say self dot part name equals the passed in part name. And self here is referring to the instance of the class. So this will make more sense with an example. So let's say that I wanted to then use this class. So I'm going to call, let me set a variable here. So I'm going to say screw equals parts, and then pass in the variables that I want to do. So let's say the part number is 5 and the part name is screw. And then let's say that I have screwdriver, which equals parts. We'll call this part number 6, and the name is screwdriver. So then if I wanted to print, let's print the screw. So the way to do this, let's say the part number is, and then screw dot part number, and then, oops, I don't need that comma there, and then comma here. The name of this part is, and then the screw dot part name, like this. So this should print out, the part number is 5 and the part name is screw. Oh, okay, I missed. So this works like a function within the class. So I do actually need to have a semicolon there, and I need to indent these 2 lines here to make them a part of that init function. And okay, I also forgot, this is an integer, so I need to convert that to string. And now if I run this, we see the part number is 5, the name of this part is screw. Okay, so that's cool, but it's also kind of tedious to declare a variable for each part that I want to use, and then have to use a separate print line if I wanted to print, let's say if I wanted to print all the parts. So what I'm going to do here, instead of, well, actually I can leave this. So I'm going to create a list. So let's say parts list. And I'm just going to declare that as a blank list. And then after I make a new part, let's do parts list dot append screw. And then after I've made the screwdriver, I could do parts list dot append screwdriver. And now let's say that I just wanted to print out the whole parts list, right? So actually, let me keep this for a second. So let's print out the whole list. So for I in range, length of parts list, we're going to print the part number is string, but rather than screw dot part number, we're going to do parts list at the index of I dot part number. And then instead of screw dot part name, we're going to do parts list at the index of I dot part name. So if I run this right now, it should print the details for my screw and my screwdriver parts. So if I run it, you'll see that I have the part number is 5, the name of this part is screw. Part number is 6, the name of this part is screwdriver. So it'd actually be pretty easy to just continuously append to this list the parts. So I could even do it just straight within the append. So if I did append, and then I wanted to do parts, let's say 7 is a hammer. So now if I rerun this program, it's going to print out all of my parts. So 5 is screw, 6 screwdriver, 7 hammer. So you see how much easier it is to be able to manage this data. It keeps data in a manageable format, right? Because we are humans and we can't just recall everything from random places. Having structures, data structures, makes it so much easier for a programmer to be able to recall the data in a structured format. As always, I want to take a second to say thank you for watching. I hope this gave you a better understanding of what classes are and how they're used and the power of using classes. I will link the GitHub repo that I showed in this video and the link to my Discord server if you have questions, comments, want to see a video done, or want to get in contact with me. It's a great resource to you. And once again, thanks for watching.